Another terrorist in Supermax is Ramzi Yousef, the leader of the first World Trade Center attack in 1993.
What did you make of him?
The most interesting inmate in my career. I was surprised that he was extremely respectful, prayed almost on the hour.
Yousef has been living in ADX for 11 years, sacrificing to live by his own code.
Something as simple as recreating. He would have to be strip searched to go recreate. He chose not to do that because of his belief that it'd be inappropriate for us to show his body or see his body.
And so he stays in the cell?
Never been out, to my knowledge.
As strict as that seems, we're told that there is an even higher level of confinement, sort of an ultramax inside Supermax. It's a group of cells where there is virtually no human contact, not even with the guards, and there are only 2 prisoners who are considered so dangerous that they're locked in this place that's known as Range 13. One of them is World Trade Center bomber Ramzi Yousef. Warden Hood says Yousef is on Range 13 for just one reason.
He has a Charlie Manson look.
Charlie Manson look?
He just has the eyes. He has some charisma about him. He's in uniform, but you know that there's a powerful person that you're looking at.
You didn't want him in a place where he could give anybody any orders.
True.
We're told something strange is happening with Yousef. He now insists that he has renounced Islam and converted to Christianity. He's even begun leaving his cell for exercise. Warden Hood left before all this happened, but still, he doesn't buy it.
He's playing a game with someone. If he's doing that, he's doing it for the reaction. He's doing it for whatever. He is the real deal.
There have been some new developments at Supermax. There have been more hunger strikes and force feedings, and both Tommy Silverstein and Ramzi Yousef have been moved to new cells, which leaves Range 13 empty, at least for now.
And there have been quite a few other developments since that 60 Minutes piece in 2007. Yousef has also put out a hit on Zacarias Moussaoui, according to letters Moussaoui wrote requesting transfer to Gitmo because he had been assaulted and harassed by other inmates and guards, including Ramzi Yousef, who has threatened to kill him. But obviously everybody who has gotten close enough to Yousef that we've demonstrated so far seems to certify that he does not fit the fanatical Muslim persona, even if he has adapted to it soon after incarceration. He's consistently deceiving people, and he resonates as being a sociopath. But before we complete our assessment of Ramzi Yousef, going back to the February 26th bombing of the World Trade Center in 1993, as already aforementioned with other groups taking claim for the Trade Center bombing, according to the Atlanta Constitution on the following day, February 27th, by foreign editor Randall Ashley. Take it with a grain of salt, the claim made 15 minutes before that blast, that is the work of Croatian militants. By some twist of logic, Croatians might think they have a motive, but so would every other group involved in the Balkan Wars. Sure enough, an hour after the blast, a person claiming to represent Serbian Liberation Front phoned police claiming responsibility and vowing further attacks if aid to Bosnia continues. And then the article continues. By Friday evening, 9 callers had claimed responsibility for the Trade Center explosion. Who knows if it is a coincidence that Croatian police defuse a bomb in a briefcase inside a plastic bag outside the U.S. Embassy in Zagreb on Friday. And apparently that was the case, as it also turns out that the Trade Center wasn't the only U.S. target that day, as police did defuse a bomb hidden in a small briefcase outside the embassy in central Zagreb, Croatia, and sealed off the street for 3 hours while defusing it. Police declined to comment. But going back to other groups taking credit, in the 1994 book, 2 Seconds Under the World, Terror Comes to America, the conspiracy behind the World Trade Center bombing, written by 4 Newsday journalists, it says, by the time Police Commissioner Raymond Kelly walked into the 10 a.m. session the following morning, February 27, 1993, 27 callers had claimed to know something about the blast. After the 1:35 p.m. call to the 1st Precinct, others didn't start flooding 911 until after 4 p.m. By midnight, Colombian drug cartels had the most votes. 3 calls claimed the drug lords were responsible. The Black Liberation Front, Chinese militants, and Arab terrorists each had 1 call. So did the New World Revolution, whatever that was. The rest of the calls were too disjointed to be understood. But shortly after midnight, Serbians took credit again. at 1:29 a.m. Iraq weighed in, followed by another vote for Yugoslavia at 2:31, and Iraq again 12 minutes later. More disjointed, rambling accusations came throughout the morning. A freewheeling speculation session began, and a litany of possible motives were tossed around. Could it really be over Yugoslavia? Someone asked. President Clinton had just announced that the United States was airlifting food and supplies to Bosnia. The timing made the motive plausible.
Across the river in New Jersey, a terminal at Newark International Airport was evacuated today following a bomb threat. No device was found and the building is open again tonight. But hourly parking's been banned beneath all of that airport's terminals because President Clinton is scheduled to land in Newark on Monday for a speech at Rutgers University. And in Washington, D.C. tonight, security's been beefed up at the White House, the Capitol building, and other national monuments. Bomb-sniffing dogs and mirrors are being used to check cars for possible explosive devices following the World Trade blast. Officials say there have been no threats, but these measures are simply precautionary.
A group of tourists in Egypt got no warning before a bomb exploded last night. It happened in Cairo. A crude bomb packed with steel nails went off in a crowded coffee shop. 4 people were killed, including 2 tourists. 18 were injured. Police suspect a Muslim extremist group that has been targeting tourists in recent months. But late today, the group issued a statement denying any involvement in the bombing.
Besides what would seem to be an anomaly from the events with the IRA bombing in London, that same following day after the Trade Center bombing, that a bomb went off in an Egyptian cafe killing tourists, which was suspected of being carried out by followers of Egyptian Islamic Jihad and the Blind Sheikh. Also in that same day within the context of the bomb threat at Newark Airport.
But in the Philippines tonight, at least 25 people have been injured in an explosion at the Zamboanga Airport. Officials in that southern city say a bomb went off in the terminal building, causing extensive damage, and that another explosive device was found and safely detonated. 4 of those injured are reportedly in critical condition tonight. No group has claimed responsibility, but police are speculating that blast was the work of Muslim extremists.
And interestingly enough, despite those incidents on the same day or afterward are not categorically implicated in the same system or pattern of global terrorism, this incident should be very foretelling as to what Yousef and family connections already had in the Philippines, separate from the official narrative suggesting that such networking took place a year later. We can't simply ignore the Philippines, especially when a whistleblower like former National Security Advisor to the Bush administration, Richard Clarke, as what he said in regards to the unlikely coincidence of Terry Nichols being in the Philippines the same time Ramzi Yousef was.
We know that Terry Nichols and Ramzi Yousef, both people were in the same city at the same time. That's odd. Both people were interested in making bombs. Both people opposed the American government. Is it conceivable that in a mid-sized Philippine city, that 2 people who were interested in making bombs and hated the American government could have found each other somehow? I think it's conceivable.
What we've seen so far tells us the major significance ADX Supermax has over Gitmo. But how unsettling does this coincidence sound when Terry Nichols is incarcerated along with Yousef at ADX? Unsettling enough that even former California Congressman Dana Rohrabacher actually went to meet Nichols and held a press conference about his obstructions to interview Ramzi Yousef.
I have been denied for a year and a half now the right to speak to a federal prisoner, namely Ramzi Yousef. He's one of the top terrorists of the world, and he's been in prison for 10 years. He was responsible for the first World Trade Center bombing and is deeply, deeply involved with the creation of Al-Qaeda. What's more important to me at this moment is that Ramzi Yousef may have had a connection to the Oklahoma City bombing, and if that's true, the American people need to know about that. And there are other questions that need to be posed to Ramzi Yousef. He's a federal prisoner, and the United States Congress, especially those of us in investigative subcommittees, have a right to question federal prisoners. This is not someone who was just arrested yesterday, or there's some ongoing investigation that deals with this person. He's been in jail for 10 years. What we have is a denial of the right of Congress in order to set a precedent that we do not have the right to interview federal prisoners. The official reason that I have been denied the right to speak to Ramzi Yousef is that there is a, quote, ongoing investigation. And of course, I have been told by many people who work for the Justice Department and the White House that that is a standard phrase that is used to dismiss congressional inquiries without any substance to the dismissal, meaning this is made up. The person who said that it is an ongoing investigation to me simply said that as a phrase to dismiss a member of Congress and to dismiss Congress's right to participate in a particular activity, like interviewing this particular federal prisoner.